My name is Tori Windom, and this is the digital story of my trip to New Zealand and Australia. On the first full day in Queenstown, I went paragliding because we had a free day, and I got to experience the insanely awesome view of New Zealand for the first time, which I thought was the coolest thing I had ever done. The next day was Queenstown Hill, which was the most insane view I've ever seen in my entire life. It was so beautiful, and we hiked to the highest point that you could go. The next destination was Fiordlands National Park, where we had John Carter as a teacher, and we took a boat ride through Doubtful Sound. The coolest part of the boat ride was towards the end, when they took about 5 minutes of silence and even turned the boat off. You can even see the ripples in the water in my picture. We stopped at a sheep farm and learned about the land tenure review process on the way to Aoraki. And while the weather wasn't that great while we were there, the glacier mountains were still beautiful. Kaikoura was awesome because we got to swim with wild dolphins, and it was an insane experience because they swam around you and were so friendly. We got to see them play when we sat on the top of the boat after we got out of the water. And then later that day, we went on a coastline hike. We got to see all kinds of animals and wildlife and saw some seals, which was pretty awesome. And we even got to catch the sunset towards the end of the hike. When we were heading to Wellington, we got to see one of the most rare things in the world, and it was baby pup seals playing in the waterfall. And then when we got to Wellington, we had a day to explore because the weather was too windy to take us to the offshore island. So we got to go to one of the biggest museums that I've ever been to. It was huge. And then me and my friend SK got to enjoy some of the best sushi we've ever had that night. While the trip to Carnarvon was really long and tiring, it was definitely worth it because we got to stop at the koala sanctuary and see kangaroos and hold koalas. I loved the Carnarvon Gorge because it was such an awesome place and it had so much history about the Aboriginal people that we got to see. But my favorite place was Lady Elliot Island, where we got to take a reef walk right when we got there. And we got to lagoon swim and snorkel every day and see little sea turtles like this. I even got to scratch one's back. And one day I went scuba diving, which was an amazing experience. We ended our trip in Sydney, Australia, which was awesome to see the Sydney Harbour for the first time.